President Cyril Ramaphosa's long-touted war against corruption, once hailed as a fresh dawn for South Africa, now stands as one of his most hollow political legacies. Years after promising to clean up the rot within government and the ruling party, the president's anti-corruption stance has lost its moral weight, political force, and public relevance. For millions of citizens, his rhetoric has become indistinguishable from that of his predecessors, grand in words, empty in action. When Ramaphosa rose to power in 2018, his message was clear: the days of estate capture were over. He promised accountability, transparency, and the rebirth of public trust. His calm, businesslike demeanor reassured South Africans who were weary of scandal after scandal. But as the years have rolled on, those same citizens have grown cynical. They've seen commissions of inquiry produce thousands of pages of reports but no real justice. They've watched implicated officials return to government positions under new titles. They've seen corruption adapt, mutate, and flourish under Ramaphosa's watch. What makes his stance appear irrelevant today is not just the absence of arrests, it's the absence of consequences. The Zondo Commission, once a symbol of accountability, has faded into the background. The recommendations that once promised to reshape the political landscape have been watered down, delayed, or ignored. The result? The same networks of power and patronage continue to dominate the political space, emboldened by the government's inertia. Even within the African National Congress, ANC, Ramaphosa's message of renewal has failed to take root. Factional battles have turned the anti-corruption crusade into a weapon of political convenience used selectively against rivals while allies are quietly protected. Senior officials accused of wrongdoing remain in their posts, while disciplinary processes drag on endlessly or vanish behind closed doors. The so-called step-aside rule, once presented as a bold moral stand, has become a tool for internal manipulation rather than a consistent ethical policy. On the ground, South Africans have stopped believing in the president's moral authority. Load shedding continues to cripple the economy, municipalities are collapsing under the weight of corruption and mismanagement, and public funds meant for health, housing, and education are siphoned off with impunity. To the average citizen, Ramaphosa's promises sound eerily familiar, just another chapter in a cycle of hope and disappointment that has defined post-apartheid governance. The irony is striking. Ramaphosa, a man once seen as the antidote to corruption, now presides over an era where public confidence in the government's integrity is at an all-time low. His administration's inability or unwillingness to act decisively against those within its ranks has rendered his anti-corruption narrative politically obsolete. Even the international community, which once celebrated his leadership as a new beginning, now views South Africa's governance challenges as entrenched and systemic. Critics argue that Ramaphosa's leadership style, consensus-driven, cautious, and conflict-averse, has become his greatest weakness. In his quest to maintain party unity, he has sacrificed accountability. In avoiding confrontation, he has allowed corruption to remain woven into the fabric of state institutions. Instead of a new dawn, South Africans are left with a stagnant twilight, where corruption no longer shocks, it's simply expected. As the country edges closer to another election cycle, opposition parties are capitalizing on this disillusionment. They frame Ramaphosa as a leader trapped between principle and politics, paralyzed by his own party's internal contradictions. The public narrative has shifted from hope to frustration, from admiration to apathy. Ultimately, Ramaphosa's anti-corruption stance no longer moves the nation. It has become a political slogan rather than a moral mission, a repetitive refrain in speeches that no longer inspire faith. South Africans, burdened by economic decline and crumbling institutions, no longer want words. They want results. And until Ramaphosa proves that his administration can deliver justice, not just promises, his anti-corruption stance will remain what it has quietly become: irrelevant.